Paul's example teaches us a lot of shocking things about prayer. He teaches us that it's okay to pray for things that we desire, even if those things may not ultimately be God's will for us. Nowadays we say that we should pray according to the will of God, and we should, but sometimes we just don't know what God's will is. Now we shouldn't pray for things that we know are blatantly wrong, but things like healing or specific outcomes, or the removal of burdens, are certainly acceptable requests to God. God wants us to bring our desires and longings to Him. Paul's example also teaches us to trust God in prayer, even when the answer is no. Paul certainly didn't declare that God was unloving after receiving his response from God, that God would not remove his thorn in the flesh. Paul trusted that God's way was better. And when Paul heard from God that God's grace is sufficient and his power is made perfect in weakness, Paul decided to gladly boast in his weaknesses, because then Christ is shown to be strong, and Paul would be an instrument of God's power. So even when the answer to our prayers is no, we can rejoice in God's power and trust His plan. Do you trust that God hears and will answer your prayers? If you feel like sometimes you're just talking to the air, realize that God deeply cares for you. He's not ignoring you. He wants to hear from you, even when you might pray for things that He's not going to give you, because in prayer you're trusting God to act in His wisdom and power, and that's exactly how God would have you come to Him. God bless you, and see you tomorrow.